and connection. So again, that's that dramatic example of how we hold on, and can we catch those moments in our life before those last 10 minutes, that we have a choice, that we can let go, that we can forgive, that we can open up, and that's greater consciousness. That's the Dharma.
Mm-hmm. Wow. We have to meet there at the human. Human and humility and that's the meeting point of Dharma, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. It absolutely is that, we're constantly learning. We're grasping truth. We're grasping this, but there's more. There's always an unfoldment and more to learn and open to. Mm-hmm. And that's the humility. It's like, no, I haven't got it. I'm getting it. Enlightenment is the process. It's not an end product.
Yeah. And this is the funny thing is that the more we get, the less, or at least in my case, the more I think I get it. Yeah. Really, I'm just like a child.
Yeah, because the more we get it, we see how bigger the mystery is.
Yeah, I just figure just let throw it up and just approach it as a child is the best way. Instead of trying to understand it. Right. To think that we can grasp it. Mm-hmm. And a child, there's those qualities of curiosity and openness and wonderment and play. Yeah. That allow us to feel into it in a way that's not closed down or rigid or too adult. Mm-hmm. Yeah, too much is a know-it-all. Yeah, well, there you go. Okay, so now, and we're not referring to childish. Childlike is a disposition that we are allowing ourselves, a natural part of ourselves.
Yes.
The best image is no image at all.
There you go.
In all the images that we seem to be working toward, it consumes so much energy.
Right.
And it would be just so refreshing if we could just kind of, as you say, relax into ourselves.
Yeah, relax. Yeah, into ourselves, what is. And appreciate that. Because we think, if I relax into this, our fear is that I'm not in control. I'll lose my impulse control. I'll be crazy. It's often when I'm working with somebody who has deep grief or deep anger, they're afraid if they let go to it, it'll take over and consume their life. But the truth is, it doesn't. There's a natural flow. It will move through. But most of us aren't accustomed to big feelings. And that's why after my climbing fall, I think I had it psychologically. I had a really hard time because I wasn't prepared to work with big grief, big loss. Because that was something, in my family and many of my generation, we just sort of covered up. When I was a child, I was prevented from going to funerals because I was protected from that. There was sort of a sense that we don't go to big feelings. And so I never learned how to do them. So it was frightening. And that's when people are frightened. If I really let go to my anger, yes, it could do a lot of harm in the wrong container. But in a sheltered, protected container of therapy, most people learn that I can have my anger, I can move through it, and then I can be a sane person. I can live with my anger in a way that doesn't hurt others. I can be honest about it, but I cannot retaliate on other people or myself. And the same with grief. I'm not going to drown in it because it's so overwhelming. Mm-hmm. There are big losses that people have. When people lose a child, when people lose a spouse, it seems like, to a sudden death, it seems, particularly with the idea of a child. Yes, most people will encounter 4 or 5 years of deep grief. There's no way around that. Mm-hmm. But they don't have to drown in it.
Yeah.
They can continue their life. They can be there for their other children. Mm-hmm. They can continue to serve life and to be nurtured by it. Mm-hmm. But you do have to surrender to the big grief. Mm-hmm. You can't get around that. Mm-hmm. But you do also need a safe container for it. Mm-hmm. That can be in a spiritual setting. That can be in a psychotherapy setting. Mm-hmm. That can be in a setting of community and friends. Mm-hmm. Who are willing to listen and accept until that moves through.
Mm-hmm. Well, this love. Love is a verb, and love makes no sense unless it's in action. Now, when I am in grief and I'm grieving, and I see other people in grief and they're grieving, it is so helpful to allow, again, here's the word allow, or to permit this flow of love to go through your life. It seems to be so healing for people who are dealing with deep, deep grief.
Right. And part of why it's often difficult for people to accept new love is they're afraid they're going to lose that too. So even accepting, receiving love during deep grief, you have to open your heart again. Mm-hmm. So we are challenged by that, because how can I let someone else in? I might lose them too. But that is the risk we all must take. And when arms fold around us, our heart does break open, and actually we can't help others in.
Yeah.
And that is the healing too.
Wow. Deborah, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. This is a delight to speak with you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm allowing it in.
All right.
And yes, it is. It's wonderful. What a wonderful breath, both in and out. It is to work and to talk with you.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's
I appreciate that.
Very life-giving. And I always ask our guests their bottom line message that they would like to deliver to humanity. So I ask you, Deborah, what is your bottom line message that you would like to deliver to humanity?
Never give up. Never give up.
Never give up.
Because when, you mentioned this prior to our talk, and I thought about humility and never give up, but we've covered humility. Mm-hmm. So I want to give that message because we talked a little bit about despair earlier and stuckness, and those are all forms of giving up. And I've been lucky because I've worked with people at the end of life. I've worked with people with serious trauma, and what I find is hopelessness can be a big place to get stuck. So never giving up is about continuing to crack open that inspirational book of quotes, to have that conversation with someone you love or someone you're having difficulty with, to understand after a serious loss of someone outside of us or a physical loss within ourselves, that all of it can be an opening to greater love and to greater insight and clarity of mind and heart. Because I've seen it happen at the end of life. I've seen it happen, and it's so beautiful. And it's so beautiful, like even to share these words with you and to hear your insights. You know, it gives me more hope too. And hope is not an empty thing. It's a trust and a faith in life. And let's see, grace was something I talked about. I mentioned my talk about falling into grace.
Yes.
And I talked about the grace of presence itself. That, grace isn't something that comes from outside and we're gifted by. Grace is there all the time. We just have to open our hearts and our minds and our eyes and our ears, and there it is. With presence, that is grace. Because presence allows us to see and feel and open up because it's there all the time. And people get jaded. People get hopeless. People get, we all do at times. And never giving up. It's funny when you asked me about my life earlier, and I thought, what were my dreams? There were dreams to be a speaker, to be a writer, to have a partner. I didn't find my life partner until I was 51, but I never gave up.
Well, that's for sticking to it, huh?
That's right. I never stopped flirting.
Well, I tell you what, hold on. There seems to be something there. Maybe we seem to find the people in our lives when we come into ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. And he was 54, and that was the first time he found someone, too,
Wow.
So he beat the statistical odds, I promise you. Both of us would have been divorced 1,000 times if we got married, but neither of us did. Neither of us had found that person. But it doesn't mean that the partner is the ultimate one. It may be a best friend. It may be finally cracking open to the love that exists between one of our parents and ourselves, or a child, or a pet. I think what I mean by that is opening to love. Never giving up on that, because it's less about the what and more about less about the outer concrete thing and more about what is actually exchanged.
Well, Deborah, the idea of you falling, I'm talking metaphorically now, is that there is that first decision to allow yourself to fall into grace.
Yes.
There's a decision involved with doing that.
That's true. It's always a choice. And sometimes that choice is choiceless because it's just there.
But so allowing yourself to be open, and your bottom line message is never give up.
You got it.
And Deborah, will you join us again on Authenticity Radio?
Oh, I'd love to.
Oh, that's great.
I'd love to. I've so enjoyed speaking with you.
This is Slade Suter. Until next time, be authentic, be true, never give up, and be free.
And there was spring singing from the tops of all the trees.
Conflict is a choice you know.
Whoa, oops. Watch it. Sorry.
But how about a better way to get things done? In order to gain a new perspective, think about peace building and gaining authenticity. To get some tips on how to do things differently and how to resolve conflict in your group, organization, business, or family, go to authenticityradio.com.
This is Authenticity Radio. Authenticity Radio with Slade Suter.